What's what's up, YouTube? YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Come on in. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? Got a good live. Got a good live for you guys today. First, let me get this out the way and I get to it. YouTube, I do not own the rights to this music. This music is for educational purpose only. Let's begin.
We've all agreed tonight, all of the speakers have agreed that America has a very serious problem. Not only does America have a very serious problem, our people have a very serious problem. America's problem is self-destruction. And my self-destruction. Self-destruction. And my self-destruction. Self-destruction. And my self-destruction. Self-destruction. Well, today's topic, self-destruction. It really ain't the rap audience is bugging. It's one of two suckers, ignorant brothers, trying to rob and steal from one another. You get caught in the mid. So to crush that stereotype is what we did. We got ourselves together so that you can unite and fight for what's right. Not negative cause. The way we live is positive. We don't kill our relatives. Pop, 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 what a shot, who's to blame? Headline, front page, and rap's the name. MC's the light, and stick the bottom line. The back on back problems, wait for all time. Check the rough black with a knife, that's right. Try, cause you died of trifling death when he left his very last breath. Was I set, so watch your step. Back in the 60s, our brothers and sisters were hanged. How could you get bad? I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man. Cause that's self-destruction. And self-destruction. Self-destruction. And self-destruction. Self-destruction. And self-destruction. Self-destruction. And those things, cuatro.
Something great dress to impress, ready to party. Money in your pocket, dying with your body. To get inside, you pay the whole $60. Scotch tape with a razor blade, tape to your collar. Leave his lights in the crack and the knobs alone. MC lights on the microphone. One rushing and pushing, snatching and taxing. I can't understand why brothers don't be maxing. There's only one disco, now close one more. You ain't going to tour. So what you gotta come to? Do you rob the rich and give to the poor? Yo, daddy.
This is really good straight from the mouth of why daddy-o. You will cry, end up in jail, you gotta go. Cause you do crime and get paid today, and tomorrow you're behind bars in the worst way. From your family, cause you locked away. Now tell me, do you really think crime pays on taking what your brother had?
Little sucker.
You talking all that jazz.
It's time to stand together in a unity. Cause if not, then you'll we're soon to be self-destroyed, unemployed. The rap race will be lost without a trace. All of you, what to do is stop the violence and kick the science. Down the road that we call eternity, where knowledge is formed and you learn to be self-sufficient, independent. Disease to each is what rap intended for society wants to invade. So do not walk this path that they laid. It's self-destruction and for self-destruction. Self-destruction. D-Night, get down like this. Self-destruction and for self-destruction. Self-destruction.
I'm just another thing and I'm a born again. The box in the back must cease to say. If we want to go and grow to another level, we can't be getting things fucked up. The enemy knows they're no fools because everyone knows the hip hop rules. So we got to
yo, here's the situation. Idiocy, nonsense, violence, not a good policy. Therefore, we must ignore fighting, fussing. Happens at the door, so there'll be no bump rushing. We get together, but we're falling apart. I heard a brother shot another, that broke my heart. I don't understand the difficulty, people. Love your brother, treat him as an equal. They call us animal, I don't agree with them. I prove it wrong, but right is what you're giving them. Take keys before I leave you understand. Oh, we'll all be on the knees, friend.
Deep in the heart of the matter, the self-destruction is served on a platter. Making a date, not failing to anticipate. They got greedy, so they fell for the bait. That makes them a victim, pick them from new jack in jail because the vet's feeling rough. There's no one around, cause in jail you're a number. They never took the time to wonder about self-destruction. Yeah, for self-destruction. Self-destruction. Yeah, for self-destruction.
Let's be urged to live for the live for the love of our people. I hope they get along. Getting the point to our brothers and sisters who don't know the time.
So we gonna
Stand
ride.
in your head, you know our job to build and collect ourselves with intellect. To evolve the self-respect. Cause we got to keep ourselves in check, or else it's
Self-destruction. Yeah, for self-destruction. Self-destruction. Yeah, for self-destruction.
What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? Like I said, I got a good live for you guys today. You know, I spoke on the Nolan Wells situation, the young Mississippi young man who came up missing on the island off of the bank of Mississippi, and how his body had turned out. And, you know, the parents, you know, is basically crying foul play. You know, they trying to find the answers. Well, I have a similar story that I want to go over, and you kind of, and it's real, and it's actually similar to this Vernon Wells story. There's nothing too much different about this Vernon Wells story. You know, it's a young lady who's friends with, you know, white people, white women, and she comes up, and the tragic accident happened where she comes up unalive. And through that is so many unanswered questions, just like with the Vernon Wells. There's so many unanswered questions, you know, the family is just compelled. But I want you to listen to this story because it's so almost similar to that Vernon Wells story. It's crazy. And you can see why the family of Vernon Wells don't trust the court system of Mississippi. Because now this happened in southern Georgia. This happened in southern Georgia. So we all know the history of Georgia and Mississippi and places like that. We all know the racial tension and the racial history of those two states. So I want you guys to listen to this and just listen and see how similar the Vernon Wells story is to this. Let's begin.
On this episode of Black Girl One, I'm revisiting a story that continues to haunt so many of us. The mysterious death of Tamla Horsford, a woman who went to a slumber party and never made it home. This case, first released on the show in 2021, has remained one of the most requested, most talked about stories we've ever covered, and for good reason. The questions still far outweigh the answers. Was it really an accident, or was there something much more sinister behind what happened that night? As we take another look at Tamla's story, I hope it serves as a reminder of how easily justice can slip away, and why we must continue to ask the hard questions. even when the system stops looking for answers. Tamla St. George was born on October 10th, 1978, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a small island in the Caribbean, where she spent her early years of life, surrounded by family and culture. She was one of two daughters born to her parents. It was just Tamla and her sister Summer. In 1989, when Tamla was 11, her family left their island home and moved to the Bronx in New York in search of new opportunities and a better future. But there's not a lot of public information about Tamla's life in those years after the move. What we do know is that she eventually met her husband Leander Horsford while living in Florida. Leander had a daughter from a previous relationship, and after they got married, Tamla gave birth to 5 sons. She embraced motherhood fully, always putting her family first. Leander's job eventually would bring the family to Georgia, to the town of Cummings. It's a small, mostly white community in Forsyth County, a place not exactly known for its diversity or inclusion, but the Horfords made a life there. Tamla quickly adjusted to their new surroundings. She spent her days volunteering at her son's school and running them to and from after-school activities, especially football and Little League games. She was a hands-on mom, always present, always cheering her boys on from the sidelines. Those who knew Tamla described her as warm, kind, and full of life. She had a magnetic personality, the kind of person who made you feel at ease just by being around her. She was funny, charismatic, and the type of woman who would light up a room with her energy. And even though she was just one of a few black women in the area, Tamla still found her community. She built friendships with the other football moms, bonded over motherhood, and brought joy to those around her. She was the kind of woman who didn't just show up, she showed out. And that's what makes what happened to her so hard to understand. By 2018, Tamla and her family were settled in life in Georgia, and it was full. Her sons were growing up fast, and her stepdaughter, who Tamla had raised like her own, was now an adult starting her own life. Things were good. She was doing what she loved most, being a mom, supporting her family, and staying connected to the community. That fall, one of the women that Tamla had become friends with, someone she had met through her son's football team, was planning a birthday celebration. It was going to be the 45th birthday party for Jean Myers, and the plan was to have what they called an old school pajama party. You know, a sleepover, drinks, food, and fun. A night for the women to let loose without having to worry about driving home. The party was going to be held at John's house on the night of November 3rd, 2018. Guess
So as you can see, it almost sounds familiar as the Vernon Wells case. You know, only difference is he was a kid and grew up in that, but she was an adult. She had got a job in Cummings, Georgia. And where she lived was predominantly white. So of course the people who she meet and the schools that her kids go to is white.
like most moms with a house full of kids, had things to take care of before she could head out. She cooked dinner for her family, made sure everything was in order, and then finally made her way to the party. She got there around 8:30 p.m. And honestly, that's such a mom thing. I don't think I've been on time for anything since having kids. So Tamla showing up a little late is completely relatable.
No, women don't like to be on time. Oh, women don't be on time for shit.
Now, according to everyone at the party, Tamla walked in and instantly became the life of it. She changed into her pajamas, a cozy white onesie covered in paw prints, and brought along a bottle of tequila, reportedly as a gift for Jean. Now, most of the women at the party were friends and acquaintances through football, though there were a couple of women that Tamla didn't know. But as the night went on, the women drank, laughed, and played games. The vibe was casual and fun. Now, according to reports, Tamla was drinking the tequila that she brought, and while everyone else was drinking too, Several of the women pointed out that Tamala was the only one drinking the tequila. Now, this was supposed to be a ladies only event, but Jean's boyfriend, Jose, and another guest's husband ended up staying. The women mostly stayed upstairs while the men watched football in the basement. Eventually, everyone gathered together to play Cards Against Humanity, and by all accounts, the energy was still light and happy. Tamala,
Now, mind you, she's the only black person there. Just like the Vernon Wells. He was the only black person on the island. It was supposed to have been an all-women pajama party, but two men stayed. One of the lady's boyfriend and another lady's husband. So now I'm getting this off of Black Girl Gone, a true crime podcast. If you guys want to check it out, you can check it out yourself. So she's the only black woman there. So let's continue, see how this thing go.
who was a smoker, stepped out on the back deck periodically throughout the night to smoke. And there are photos from the party that show her smiling, having fun, just enjoying a night out with friends. There's even a video where she appears to be in really good spirits. She doesn't look overly intoxicated, and other guests later say that she didn't seem that drunk. Around 11:30 p.m., Tamala FaceTimed her husband to check in, something she likely did regularly when she was out for the night. After that, things slowly started to wind down at the party.
See, I know some women who can drink. I know some women who can drink and don't be all sloppy and goofy and silly. I know some women who can drink better than some men. So just because a woman is drinking, that don't mean she's getting all sloppy drunk and all that shit. So just because she's drinking, hey, she's having a good time. She out with friends. They chilling. They ain't got to go nowhere. Nobody don't have to drive home. Shit, I've been the same damn way. Shit. I've been drinking and having a good time, talking shit, probably what she was doing. They was having a good time. So I don't see anything really odd with that.
Two of the women left not long after. They hadn't planned to stay overnight and had to get home to their kids. By about 1 a.m., most of the guests had gone to bed. Tamala, however, wasn't ready for the party to be over, and according to those there, she was trying to get people to stay up with her. But eventually, even the last remaining person turned in. Now, Jean and Jose say that they went to bed around 1:30 a.m. And at that time, Tamala was still awake, along with another woman named Bridget. Bridget says that she left the party at about 1:47 a.m. And according to her, Tamala was eating a bowl of gumbo and mentioned that she was going to smoke one last cigarette before going to bed. The home security system seems to support Bridget's timeline, confirming her departure from home at 1:47. But no one else has admitted to seeing Tamala alive after that. The next morning, at around 8:45, Jean's aunt, Madeline, who also lived in the home, but strangely isn't listed as one of the party guests, woke up and began making her morning coffee. Now, she was in the basement when she looked out of the window and saw something that stopped her cold. Tamala's body lying face down in the backyard. Now, she told police that she could see the white onesie with paw prints and immediately knew that something was wrong. She said she dropped to her knees and prayed, and then she went upstairs to tell Jean and Jose what she had just seen. Now, according to reports, she said to Jean that, quote, something is wrong with your friend from the islands. which is honestly a strange way to refer to someone who had been living in the US since she was 11. Yes, Tamala was born in the Caribbean, but she had spent nearly 3 decades in this country, so the comment just feels off. And to be honest, it sounds more like something said in hindsight to kind of clean up a much less polite, insensitive remark. Madeline, however, tells Jean and Jose what she saw, and according to them, they then got dressed and went outside.
Yeah, she said that instead of saying the N word. So you say your Caribbean friend.
But it was clear Tamala was already dead. Just before 9 a.m., Jean placed a 911 call, and in that audio, she immediately begins offering what sounds like an explanation for Tamala's death before any real questions are even asked. It's as if she's already setting the stage, trying to frame the narrative from the very beginning. Now, after Jean speaks to the dispatcher, she passes the phone to her boyfriend Jose, and he tells the dispatcher that Tamala isn't moving. The 911 operator then asks if he sees any blood, and Jose responds that he's not sure, that he doesn't know if he should move her to check if there's blood underneath her. And then the dispatcher asks him if Tamala was breathing. And Angel Self, wait.
So he just gave up information that even it didn't sound right from the beginning. But you're gonna hear how the story changes. You're gonna hear how the story changes. Let's continue.
And that's when it becomes clear that no one had even checked. Now think about that. Tamala was lying face down in the backyard, and not one person at the scene, people who claimed to be her friends, had even made any effort to see if she was still alive. Now, throughout the call, both Jean and Jose mentioned that Tamala had been drinking and speculate that she may have fallen off the balcony. But what stands out most to so many people who have listened to this call is the tone, the complete lack of urgency or distress in their voices. There seems to be no panic, no desperation, no sense of shock that someone that they had just spent the night with was now lying lifeless in their backyard. Instead, the call feels almost clinical, matter of fact, as if they were calling about a broken fence, not the unexpected death of a friend. And that's something that to this day continues to bother people. And
don't that sound like the Running Wells? His friends didn't know what the fuck happened. What's up, Slim? Picking shoes. Salute, bro. Everybody acting like they don't know what happened. She just mysteriously was unalive in the front yard, face down. Nobody know what happened. Don't it almost sound like that Vernon Wells case? Let's continue.
just questions about what really happened to Tamara Horsford. Because the more you look at the details, the more you start to realize that not everything about that night adds up. And what happened after the 911 call? Well, that only deepens the mystery. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Yep.
See, it's too many questions. There's too many questions. You know, it's almost like a cover-up. It's almost like a cover-up. Like I say, this is so much like the Vernon Wells case to me. You know, you have to be careful who you be around and who you trust. Because everybody don't have your best interest at heart. And it's no telling what happened to Tamala. There's no telling what happened. Steve.
2018, 40-year-old Pamela Horsford attended a birthday party. The next morning, she was found dead in the backyard. Immediately, questions began about how she died, questions about the people who were there, and most importantly, questions about whether this was really an accident at all. About 15 minutes after the 911 call, police arrived at the scene. The officers quickly determined that Tamla was already dead, and so they told the EMTs that they didn't need to come out after all. From the start, it was clear that the police believed the story that the homeowners told, that Tamla's death was an accident, and because of that, they treated the scene accordingly, approaching it as if it was just a tragic fall. They did ask many of the party attendees to come back later for interviews, but what's shocking is what wasn't done. No fingerprints were collected, no DNA taken from underneath Tamla's fingernails, and no procedure performed to check for a possible sexual assault. The lead detective did note one thing, that the position of Tamla's body seemed strange. She was face down, which didn't quite fit with the story of a simple fall. And remember, Jean's house was equipped with a security system that logged every door opening and closing, notifications sent right to her phone. Jean showed investigators the system's log, which revealed something interesting. At 1:49 a.m., the back door leading out to the balcony opened. 1 minute later, at 1:50 a.m., it closed again. And then 7 minutes later, it opened once more and stayed open until Jean and Jose came downstairs the next morning. Now, according to them, the door was just left wide open, but that detail raised more questions than answers.
Now, so that means whatever happened to her had to happen after 1:57 a.m. Now, because remember they said the last guest left like at 1:51, 1:47, somewhere around 1:47. Because the door closed, they had the door opening at 1:47 and closing at 1:47. Then they had it reopening at 1:57. I think they had in between like 1:50, I think. So whatever happened to her had to happen after 1:57.
As police continued their interviews, the timeline of who left when began to take shape. After Bridget left at 1:47, the next guest to leave was a woman named Marcy. She left at around 4:10 a.m., explaining that she had to get to work early. And then at 7:45 a.m., another guest, Paula, she left. And then around 8:30 a.m., Stacy and her husband, Tom, the other male guest at the party, left as well.
If you don't know what's wrong.
So a guest left after 1:57. They said the guest left at 4 o'clock. They said the guest left at 4 o'clock. Now I can understand probably not seeing anything at that time because if you're in the country, it's dark. So you can't really see anything in the grass.
Dropped her off and picked her up, also left around the same time. The pieces of the night's puzzle were starting to come together, but they only raised more questions about what actually happened. Now, although Jean's home was equipped with a security system that reportedly had video surveillance, it was ironically not recording the night Tamla died. And 2 hours after police arrived on the scene, Tamla was officially pronounced dead. Her body was eventually taken in for an autopsy, but Even as they waited for the medical examiner's report, police continued to treat Tamel's death as nothing more than an unfortunate accident.
Now, as this audio goes on, I want you guys to listen because they figure out things, then they kind of trying to like shape the narrative where it's not necessarily foul play involved. You're going to see what I'm talking about, what they did and what they said and what they discovered to try to fit the narrative that was told. Because like you heard, a lot of things they didn't do because they was going on the word of the homeowners of what happened. So just think if that was a bunch of black people and a white person came up unalive in their yard. They would have did all types of investigation. Same thing with this boy Vernon Wells. Same thing with him. If that role was reversed, man, they'd be doing all types of investigation. Let's continue.
And the Forsyth County Medical Examiner backed up that story. They ruled Tamel's death accidental, claiming that she had a blood alcohol level nearly 3 times the legal limit, along with traces of marijuana and Xanax in her system. According to the medical examiner, intoxication likely played a role in her fall. People at the party had told police Tamela was smoking weed that night.
See how what they said, to fit their narrative. Oh, she had alcohol 3 times the level, and she had marijuana and Xanax. So, whatever the narrative that they put that she fell over the banister or whatever, it fits that narrative. Because, yeah, you can be that fucked up and fall over the banister. Yeah. But is that what really happened?
But that John had asked her to stop because of Jose's job. Police later said that they found rolling papers in Tamela's purse. Now, these details were used to reinforce the idea that she was impaired enough to fall to her death.
What's wrong with her smoking weed? Oh, shit. That's a grown woman. And the way it sounds, she was a grown, successful woman. She had to be successful because that's how she got the job she got there in Georgia. That's why they moved to Georgia. My thing of it is, if a person chooses to drink and they take care of their business, they work and all that, that's their right. That's how some people relax. You have some people that smoke weed. That's how they relax. I know plenty of professional people who smoke weed. It ain't everybody that's live in the hood or just black people or whatever that smoke weed. You have professional people that smoke weed. People you don't even think smoke. That's true facts. But hey, they got to bring up something to fit that narrative.
They They even pointed to an unlit cigarette found on the porch and the security system door logs to support their conclusion. In their eyes, Tamla had gone out to smoke at around 1:57 a.m. and then accidentally fell from the balcony. Case closed. But to those who knew and loved Tamla, that explanation never made sense. Yes, Tamla was known to enjoy herself, and maybe she had been drinking that night, but no one, not even the people at the party, described her as stumbling, slurring, or sloppy drunk. So if she wasn't as impaired as they claimed, then why would she just fall? When the autopsy report came back, the questions only deepened. The medical examiner listed Tamla's injuries as consistent with a fall, but the extent of those injuries raised eyebrows. The balcony she supposedly fell from was about 15 to 20 feet, a fall that could hurt someone, maybe even break bones, but not necessarily kill them. Tamla had suffered blunt force trauma to the head, a broken neck, a dislocated wrist, lacerations to her heart, and multiple scrapes and bruises across her face, fingers, arms, and legs.
Now, will you sustain all them injuries from a fall? Would you sustain all them injuries from a fall? Now, the height was number 15 feet. Unless she dove head first, fell head first, that's the only way I can see her breaking her neck. But if you slip and fall, you just ain't gonna fall head first like that.
But here's the thing. Tamla was wearing a long sleeve fleece onesie, and so how did she get cuts on her arms and legs? How did she dislocate her wrist and break her neck, and end up face down, from a fall off a relatively low balcony into open grass? Photos from the scene showed no rocks, no bushes, no sharp debris, just grass and a line of mulch that bordered the yard.
That's another thing. She didn't fall on the concrete. She fell on the grass. She fell on the grass. So all the injuries that she sustained couldn't have been just from that fall. It couldn't have been.
And her body, even if she had fallen, would have landed past that mulch line. There's no indication that she moved after she hit the ground. Still, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office officially closed the case on February 19, 2019. But Tamla's loved ones were suspicious from the beginning. The idea that she had simply fallen never sat right with them. They knew her. They knew that something was wrong, and there were problems from the start. Her family was never given access to the autopsy photos, and they were forced to rely solely on the written report just to try to piece together what had happened. And then there were the inconsistencies, not just in the investigation, but in what the investigators were telling the family. Early in the case, the lead detective, Mike Christian, told Tamla's father, Kurt St. George, that Tamla's injuries looked like she had suffered a quote-unquote ground fall, meaning that she didn't fall from the balcony. In fact, one early police report even states that officers initially believed that she had tripped over some landscaping and then died. But that theory didn't hold up. It made no sense, and so quietly they changed the story. And about
See, two different stories. Just like that Vernon Wells. Just like that Vernon Wells case. They say something at first, the next thing you know, the story changed. Just like Vernon Wells. It was a story out that the boys gave the parents the phone. But come to find out, The parents had to track the phone and found out where the phone was at. And the boys had it. Had his phone and his keys to his car. See the inconsistency, the questions. Same shit. And sometimes you have these people wonder why, you know, sometimes people get these big time lawyers. Because I'm seeing some of these people talking about the Wells family got Ben Crump and all this shit. They was quick to close this case. They was quick to close it. And like I say, if the role was reversed, man, they wouldn't have closed this case as fast. So I'm just waiting to see how this Vernon Wells thing. Like I said, I'm sitting back and watching and waiting to see how this case goes. I'm sitting back and watching to see how this Vernon Wells case goes. But this shit here is diabolical, man. This shit is diabolical. Let's continue.
Attorney theory was introduced later, and Christian admitted that it had been a mistake to tell Tamla's father about the original story. But was it really a mistake, or was it just a case of the evidence not matching the version of the story that they had decided to go with? But as time went on, Tamla's family and friends, more and more, began to question the police's investigation and the stories being told by the people at that party. Then something happened that changed everything. A photo from that night started circulating online. Tamla, the only black woman at a party full of white people, smiling on a couch in her paw print onesie. People online were drawn to her story immediately. The image was unsettling, and it sparked the first wave of questions across social media about what really happened to Tamla Horsford. One of her closest...
And people wonder why people on social media went all crazy when that Vernon Wells thing came out. Because a lot of people seen this before. A lot of people seen this before.
Friends became a driving force behind the campaign for justice, and soon the way the investigation had been handled or mishandled was under a microscope.
If you don't know what's wrong,
You know, a lot of people seen this shit before, man. That's why people are all in uproar on social media now. This shit ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing new.
Wave of questions across social media about what really happened to Tamla Horsford. One of her closest friends became a driving force behind the campaign for justice, and soon the way the investigation had been handled or mishandled was under a microscope. The scene hadn't been properly secured. Police didn't collect key evidence, and while they spoke to people at the scene, formal interviews didn't happen for 2 full days, giving everyone plenty of time to get their stories straight. And still, those stories didn't match. According to reports, there were inconsistencies in what guests said, especially when it came to what time they woke up. The security system could track door activity, but not who was leaving and who was moving around inside. Now, one report suggests that Jean's aunt, Madeline, may have been up as early as 7:30 a.m. And another guest, Jennifer, told police that she woke up between 7:30 and 7:45 and was waiting for her husband. By 8 a.m., Jennifer allegedly told investigators that Madeline was up acting suspicious. But Jennifer later changed her statement to match Madeline's timeline. Now,
See? Too many questions. Too many inconsistencies, man. She tell one story at one time, but she changed her story to match the other woman's story. So that means they collaborated. There was some collaboration going on.
Jennifer's original version was true. It means that Madeline may have seen Tamla's body almost 2 hours before anyone called 911. Madeline first said that she found the body when she went outside to check the weather, but later she claimed that she saw Tamla through the window, and then she prayed before alerting Jean and Jose. There were also questions about the timeline of arrivals. Jean initially told police that Tamla was the last guest to arrive, but that wasn't true. Another woman came after Tamla, and the now infamous group photo on the couch, well, it was taken before the final guest had even shown up. The photo, by the way, was taken by Madeline.
I got a question. If you see somebody laying out on the lawn, is your first reaction is going to get on your knees or whatever and pray? Aren't you going to go see if the person's all right? Wouldn't that be your first reaction? I'm confused. Why would you, when you see somebody laying in the grass, first thing you do is get on your knees and pray? Now I can see if you go out there and check it and you see the person is unalive, then you get on your knees and pray. Okay. But your first reaction is to pray and not to go see is that person okay? Why are you praying? What is the reason why you praying? Shit just don't sound right to me.
And all of these inconsistencies only fueled suspicion. Something about this didn't feel right, and it wasn't just Tamla's loved ones saying it. Even one of the women who left the party early that night told police that she couldn't understand how Tamla could have fallen. She said that she had been on that deck 100 times, looked at it from every angle, and even when she was drunk, but she couldn't figure out how Tamla would have fallen. The questionable investigation and the strange behavior of those at the party led many to believe that this was more than just a tragic accident. This was a cover-up. And it didn't escape anyone that this was happening in Cumming, Georgia, a town where only 4% of the population is black, a place known for years as a gathering point for white supremacists. For decades, Cumming had been an all-white town, openly hostile to black residents. And while the racial makeup of the area had slowly begun to shift, the history remained, and it still lingered.
Sound like Jasper, Texas. They thought the same thing. They thought the same thing. But people don't know evil lurks. Evil lurks beyond them hills. Evil lurks just ready to strike.
Beneath the surface. So people began to ask if this had been a white woman found dead at a party full of black people in a predominantly black neighborhood, but the police have treated the case the same way.
Hell yeah. Hell no.
But in the months after Tamala's death, her family and friends did everything they could to keep her story alive, and social media became a powerful tool. But there was one detail that couldn't be ignored, and that was Jose's job. He wasn't just Sean's boyfriend. He was a former probation officer, and at the time worked in pretrial services. In a small town like Cumming, that meant that he very likely knew and possibly had influence with the very officers investigating Tamala's death. That is intent.
Now check this out. Check this out. Here come another eye opener to make you say,
Attention to the case grew. People who attended the party started to receive death threats. Eventually, some of them filed a lawsuit against one of Tamala's vocal supporters, accusing her of putting them in danger by naming them and sharing their photos online. But that lawsuit was ultimately dismissed.
Introducing the Spectrum.
because people who was trying to find out the answers of what happened to Tamala, and they put the people's names who was on the picture, then people started getting death threats. I wonder why they were getting death threats. That's another good question.
Could have been different.
In December 2018, just a month after Tamala's death, Jean's boyfriend Jose was fired from his job as a pretrial service officer. The reason? He had been caught trying to access files related to Tamala's case, records he had no business looking at. To the public, this only added to the growing suspicion around him. Why try to access?
Now he tried to get the files for Tamala's case. Why are you trying to get the files for Tamala's case? Why are you trying to look at it? Why? If it was such a freak accident, why are you trying to look at the files?
That's the files unless you were trying to control the narrative or hide something. But by that time, police had already closed the case, and Tamala's story had already started to fade from the headlines. Like so many other cases involving Black women, the interest didn't last. But in 2020, amid a national reckoning around racial justice and police accountability, Tamala's case came roaring back into the public conversation. That now infamous photo of her, the only Black woman at a sleepover with all white guests, started circulating online once again, sparking new outrage. This time, it caught the attention of celebrities like 50 Cent, T.I., and Kim Kardashian.
Salute to 50, T.I., old girl Kardashian, for bringing that to light.
Who all used their platform to demand answers and call for a new investigation. Then, on June 5th, 2020, the Horsford family attorney released a statement after completing their own independent investigation into Tamala's death, and what they found was alarming. The letter read, quote, "Witness statements are in conflict. A potential subject handled the body as well as the evidence prior to law enforcement arrival. A remarkable fact is that there were no photographs taken during the autopsy of Tamala's body. This had been done at someone's directive, because such a practice is unheard of." The letter also stated plainly that there was strong reason to believe that Tamala had been murdered. Just 1 week later, under mounting public pressure and renewed attention, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to take over the case. By the summer of 2020, the GBI had officially reopened the investigation into Tamala's death, and for a brief moment, there was hope. Hope that maybe this time, the truth would finally come out. But as the months passed, the headlines once again quieted. Like so many social justice movements online, The momentum faded, and people moved on to the next story. Still, Tamla's family and friends held on. They were hopeful that the GBI's involvement, an outside agency, would bring real answers. That
People stop talking about it. People stop talking about it. And that's sometimes how things happen. People stop talking about stuff like this, cases like this, bring awareness to people. People stop talking about it. And like he said, after a while, the story just fades away. Just fades away.
this time, it wouldn't be ignored. But that hope was short-lived. On July 26, 2021, just over a year after the GBI began their investigation, they announced their conclusion. They would not be filing any charges, and they agreed with the original finding that Tamla's death was nothing more than a tragic accident. Once again, Tamla's loved ones were left with more questions than answers, and once again, they made it clear that they do not accept the findings. They do not believe that Tamla's death was an accident, and they have vowed to continue fighting for answers, for truth, and for justice. It's been almost 7 years since Tamla went to a birthday party and never came home. To this day, there are still many unanswered questions about what happened that night. From the beginning, the story given was that Tamla accidentally fell from a balcony after a night of drinking. But for many, that explanation has never fully made sense. But what's often overlooked is who Tamla was. Beyond the headlines and speculation, she was a devoted mother of 6, including her stepdaughter, who was pregnant at the time with what would have been Tamla's first grandchild. She was a wife, a friend, and someone deeply loved by those around her.
Yeah, so that was the story of Tamla Horsford. I just thought that was interesting because it reminded me so much of the Vernon Wells case. It reminded me so much of the Vernon Wells case because it's a lot of unanswered questions. And you know, and you can understand why the family of Vernon Wells don't trust the law enforcement in Mississippi. You know, and you can understand why their lawyer is trying to go outside the state of Mississippi. That's why they're getting a private autopsy done in Washington, D.C. Because they're not just going on their word. Because if it was up to them, that case would be settled just like Tamala's. So I just thought that story was interesting, man. You know, you kind of can understand why, you know, Vernon Wells' parents is not really trusting the state of Mississippi. And it also showed that a lot of this crazy shit is still really going on. Because there's a whole lot of crazy stories I can go over that probably blow your mind. You couldn't believe that that's going on in real life. You got a lot of evil people out here. A lot of evil people. A lot of evil people. That's why you got to stay on your square. You got to be the best person you can be. You got to be honest with yourself. Has to take accountability. What's up, trainer? What we doing? We got that's part of growing up. Taking accountability. So we're not always right. We're not always right. See, we be wrong sometimes. That's why it's good to have a conversation. Conversation goes a long way. When you know how to conversate, you're good. Some people just can't conversate. They form a conversation as yelling or wanting to fight. That ain't conversation. You don't settle nothing like that. The only thing gonna happen if you fight, somebody gonna get fucked up. Then the problem still ain't gonna be solved. What did you solve? You ain't solved nothing. You ain't solved a damn thing. Yeah. So shit, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, I watched the takeover this morning. But I kept telling people, Trina, that KB don't want shit to do with this shit. KB don't want to be part of it. You know? Because I spit the game. I spit the game a long time ago. I said TJ erased them video so KB won't see it. Then he can go on with his narrative. I knew the game. The average person can see that shit. But like I say, I don't take this shit on YouTube seriously. It's entertainment to me. It's like watching your favorite TV show. Motherfuckers know they be watching their TV shows, they be talking shit to their TV. Oh, shit. It's just not. how we can, we can talk shit in the chat, in the damn TV show. That's how I look at it. Shit. I don't take this shit serious. But it's all entertainment. Well, but like I say, I told people KB ain't, man, I don't know KB personally, but you can watch how people move. Yeah, KB know what's happening because he told me. He told me, Nate, they gonna come at you. He told me. So KB know what's up. That's why I say he don't, and I know he told TJ to chill on some of that shit. But like he say, TJ a grown man. Yeah. So I feel him when he say motherfuckers need to stop putting him in shit. You know? But you can't really pay attention to some people in the chat. Cause some of them motherfuckers, like they say, they want to see that shit. They want to see you fall out with somebody. They want to see you talk shit about somebody. They want to see that shit. They root them on. You got to stay true to yourself. You can't go by everything the chat say. Motherfuckers come over here. They don't do it too much no more because they know it don't faze me. Keyshawn, all them motherfuckers used to come over here. They used to try to troll. I just tell them, hey, that ain't welcome over here. Yeah, can't be cool. Be cool. I told him a while back, I said, boy, you like a little brother. So you talk with a lot of sense. You talk with a lot of sense. And that's why I was trying to tell Biz, just change the content, change our content. Biz know how to talk about other shit. But like I say, that live I did on the Old Boy from me, St. Louis, me and Biz was doing that. So Biz know how to do other content. Stop talking about the dude. Make him work. Make him come up with some different content. That's how you beat that. Don't go back and forth. That's what he wants. That's how he's surviving. Now you want to keep playing chess? That's how you play chess. You got to beat a motherfucker at their own game. You got to be the person at their own game. Because nothing don't never need to be personal. Nothing should be personal on here. Oh, you want to play games? Okay, I know how to do this. I know how to do that. Shit don't have to get personal. On the internet. Shit. Shit, you on the internet. Man, I wish I would raise my blood pressure on a motherfucker on the internet. I wish I would. I wish I would. I'd kick my own ass, pause, if I let a motherfucker on the internet raise my blood pressure. No way in hell. Because for one, I have other things on my mind than you. I want to talk about other things than you. Shit. I want to enlighten. I want to talk about real life shit, what's going on. What's going on around us. You know, like on my next live, I was going to do it this live, but I wanted to talk about Tamala. Well, my next live, people have so much of a perception of Chicago. I'm going to show you other places where it's just as bad than Chicago. And just to prove that this shit is happening everywhere. It's just not Chicago. I heard Biz use my saying, if I'm in a room and I'm the smartest motherfucker in the room, I'm in the wrong room. A lot of people don't understand what that means. Because you just don't get life lessons living life. You get life lessons from listening to people who've been where you was at, where you at. When you at any stage you don't want to listen, then you fucked up. The one thing when I played sports, I was coachable. Because I listened. I ain't act like I knew everything. That's why coaches like me. Because I was coachable. See, because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you ain't coachable, you ain't no good to some teams. Because nobody can tell you anything. And that's how a lot of these young people are. You can't tell them shit. They don't want to hear it. You're trying to tell them something to benefit them, they don't want to hear it. Same thing, same thing. So when you get in your 40s, I ain't gonna say it's too late. to change your ways. But if you hard-headed, pause, don't like to listen, don't like to take accountability, you ain't gonna never change your ways. You're gonna stay the way you are. You gotta have an open mind to change. Yep, you gotta have that open mind. If you don't have that open mind, man, you never will. Man, I was supposed to went to up here by the lake by Jackson Park. See, they got like a concert out there, mini concert. Shit. I got lazy now. I got lazy now. Well, I'm at a point now. I don't like to be around a big crowd. I don't like to be around a big crowd. You know. But my girl said they went to the Taste of Chicago yesterday. They said Common did a free concert. Said it was pretty nice. I should have went. I should have went, but I'm glad I didn't go. Because Taste of Chicago is not like it used to be. I'm so used to when they had first did the Taste of Chicago because they had so many vendors out there. They had good vendors. You know, they had all type of food that you can sample. But shit, they had cut down a lot, man, over the years. Because for, I think, 1 year, I don't think they had the Taste of Chicago because they were talking about it wasn't in the budget. Because they stopped having free concerts at the Taste. When they did that, that's when I stopped going. Because the vendors became less. You know, the days shortened because it used to be like a 2-week stretch to the Taste of Chicago. But now, shit, it's just damn weekend. What the fuck? You know, and they got less vendors. You know, so I haven't been in years. But I asked my girl because I like to get the. We used to have a vendor down there that made them turkey legs. I like to get them turkey legs. But shit, she said, they ain't even had no turkey legs. I said, shit. I'm glad I didn't go. Glad I didn't go. Well, yeah, what's up with y'all people in the bushes and all that, man? What y'all gonna do? Damn D gone. YouTube streets quiet. What everybody gonna do? I need to catch up with these summer camps. Shit, Biz talking about the guy they got AJ, but I liked AJ. I said the Wizards should get AJ for BYU. That was a good big pick, but I like to pick the Bulls guy too, Caleb Williams. That boy gonna be nice too. Nice rookie class that came out. Gonna be very interesting. Gonna be very interesting. Yeah, it's about time for LeBron to move out. Time for these young boys to get to shine. John Morant had his chance, but he fucked that up. Zion had a chance, he fucked it up. So this new crop, they got their chance. Shit. Got Wembanyama so far. You know, you got Shea doing this thing. But as they say, they're not American. So they don't count, which I think is bullshit, but hey, it is what it is. So they need some new. They don't want to give Jaylen Brown his props because he too much got his own mind. So they don't want to give Jaylen Brown his props. Oh, hey, there's room for the new crop. Time for the new crop. Curry, Bron, Durant. Time for y'all ass to retire. It's time for y'all ass to retire. Don't let these young whippersnappers come on in. Let them get that shine. Shit. God damn. Well, you know, sometimes we can be hard-headed. You know, we think we can still do it no matter how old we get. And we just want to hang around because we like to do it. But in actuality, you need to retire. Can't keep chasing these young motherfuckers around. Shit. I know before I stopped hooping, I was hooping shit. I'm 50 years old and I'm chasing motherfucker 20. Man, I can't keep doing that shit. Man. You know, sometimes we don't want to let it go. Because I'm sure a lot of the older players, not older, but old time players, if it wasn't for injury, I think they probably would have kept playing. A lot of them would have kept playing. But see, them players back then too played a lot of games. Wasn't no damn load management. Wasn't no such thing. So they played more games back then. Cause you didn't hear Jordan or Barkley or none of them playing no 60 games, or if they wasn't hurt, shit, them motherfuckers down there playing 82 games. Then they go to the playoffs plus the playoffs. That's the difference. I don't know if DNYC is in the bushes or any Knicks fan. But I hate to tell y'all, the Knicks is not about to repeat. I'm predicting that. Not that I don't like the Knicks. Congratulations. The Knicks finally won after 53 years. But y'all not going to repeat. I don't know who's going to knock y'all out yet because it's still early. The roster's not set. But y'all not going to repeat. As Charles Barkley say, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And that's for real. Well, this don't even feel like a Saturday. I guess if you worked every day during the week, it'll feel like a Saturday. Oh, shit. I swear, y'all. I feel so blessed I don't have to get up and go to work no more, and plenty times, days and night, getting up, going to work, hustling, bustling. Now I can sit back and relax. As that movie says, what a wonderful life. Oh, shit. Yep. But this is my hobby. This is my hobby. Coming on YouTube and spreading shit that I learned. Spreading enlightenment. Spreading knowledge. Spreading stuff that might uplift someone. That's what it's all about. You can't always think about yourself. You can't go through life thinking about yourself because it ain't all about you. It ain't all about you. You have to go through life. You have to take other people into consideration. Because that's the same thing you'll want for yourself. It's like you want people to respect you. So you respect them. But if it comes to a point where you don't respect me, I just don't mess with you. Simple as that. I don't mess around with nobody. Don't give me no respect, especially if I'm showing you respect. I don't need your friendship that bad. Now, do sometimes you might have a little, you might bump heads, poles at one time or another. Yeah, I had disagreement with my real life brothers. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. Man, y'all, I've been chilling. This weather's been so crazy here. It'll be hot, then it'll rain, then it'll be hot, then it'll rain. Like, god damn. We had a break the last couple of days though. We had a break the last couple of days. Cause see, I like to get up in the morning. I like to go out and either walk or ride around. Cause I be up early in the morning. There ain't nothing like an early morning ride. I like if I got errands, I like to do them early in the morning. I like to go to the grocery store when they open. Well, right after they open, get there before all the people get there. So, like I said, I don't like crowds, so if I gotta go somewhere, I like to get in and out, in and out, in and out. I go buy me something to wear, some clothes or something, I have in mind what I want to get. In and out. In and out. If I don't see what I'm looking for, I'm out. That's why, like, if I take my girl shopping, she goes shopping, I sit in the car. 'Cause I don't believe in going to different stores and all that shit. When I go shopping, I know what I want. I don't like going to all different stores and all that shit going in. And they going through all the aisles and all this shit, man. Fuck that. Fuck that. I know what I'm looking for. I go look for what I'm looking for. If I see something similar to what I want, I get it and I'm out. You know, that's just how I am. I always wonder why my father said he don't go shopping with my mom. I learned why. Oh shit. Mm-mm. Hey D, I was just talking about you, man. I was just saying I don't think the Knicks gonna repeat, man. I don't think the Knicks gonna repeat. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. What's up, Ryder? It's gonna be tough, man. I don't know why they let Mitchell Robinson go. That was dumb to me. Hey, Riders, I heard you over there jamming. I think was that earlier today. I be getting my days mixed up. Shit. I think it was earlier today. I heard you over there jamming. I think I had just got off live this morning. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy, D. I don't know why they did that. Cause he was the difference. Yeah, that was early. Okay. Okay. Girl, you talking about you had got fat. You still all right? Little red bone. I'm just talking shit, Ryder. I'm just talking shit. I'm just an old man talking shit. Oh shit. Yeah, I try to be right. I try to be real. You know what I'm saying? You know, I try to be real. I don't try to perpetrate. You know, I could be funny sometimes. I could be serious sometimes. I just don't like stupid shit. You know, I could deal with the roasted, but I don't like personal shit. I don't like that. I don't like that on either end. I don't give a fuck who it is. I know that right, Ryder. I know that right. Yeah. Shit, that's why I say shit. Anybody welcome here. I don't discriminate. You know what I'm saying? I don't discriminate. Because what I speak on is for everybody here. It ain't just one set of people, it's for everybody. And it's positive. You know, some of the stories might be negative, but actuality can be positive. Because it's eye-opening shit. So, you know, yeah, whatever. But yeah. Yeah, that's what it's about. Well, I appreciate you for coming. So you from old Philly. Yeah, I might have a good basketball team this year. Y'all might have something to celebrate in Philly. I don't know what the Eagles gonna do. Expect the other team in the NFC East might catch up to them, like the Cowboys. Oh, you don't watch sport, so you don't care. Hey, Ryan, I'm finna mess with you. I bet you had a man. I bet you watch sport. I bet if you had a man, you would watch sports. Or would you be that type to tell him to turn it off? Cause I had a lady that didn't like sports. Yeah. Well, I had a lady who didn't watch sports. You know. Thing about it though, she didn't like watching it, but she didn't mind going to the games. Like we went to NBA games, we went to baseball games. But as far as sitting at home watching it together or whatever, she didn't like doing that. Well, D, I know some ladies who like sports. Shit. Not really. Not really. I kind of disagree with that, D. Only way it could be annoying if she watching with you and she always asking you questions. That can be annoying. That could be annoying. But you know, some women know sport. You know, not saying they know them all, but you know, you got to know some women who know football. You got some women who know basketball. You got some women who know baseball. You know, so it is some women who know sports. Well, and you got some women who probably don't know sports will sit there and watch with you. And you know how sometimes you can explain what happened just without her asking? You know, they'll listen. And some women will learn. Some women are willing to learn sports, certain sports. You have those too. So hey, it depends on the woman. Some women just say, fuck it. I don't like it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody got their own thing, right? You know. Because I can say today, since the NBA playoffs, I haven't sat and watched a whole game. To sit down and watch the whole game from beginning to end, I haven't done that in a long, long time. See, I'm quick to put on a movie. If I'm at home and I don't really want to watch the game, I'm quick to put on a movie. No, it ain't the same no more. It's just like wrestling. It got scripted. Oh, shit. Hmm. And this gambling don't make it no better. This legal gambling and all that shit. It don't make it no better. That's why you find a lot of people talking about this game was rigged and all that shit. Yeah. 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 AD. When the Bulls was winning, man, if we be out playing or we be somewhere playing ball, nigga, we ran home to make sure we caught the Bulls. If we didn't catch the Bulls live, that's when we had them VCRs. And you can pre-record. You can put on the time on your VCR. And take the game. Once we got through hooping, we go home and watch the game. Oh shit. AD, I told my boy, I said, man, we still have VCRs. Man, we got so many tape games of the Bulls. Man. I wish I still had them VHS tapes, man. I wish I still had them, man. Man. Put that VCR on timer what time the Bulls came on. Because at that time, they came on WGN. WGN came on everywhere. Man. Yeah. Used to tape all them motherfuckers, man. Me and my partner, we was just talking about that shit, man. We was talking about that shit. If we kept them tapes that we had, man, because now you can transfer it somehow. I don't know how they do it now. I don't know how they would do it now. But shit. Yep. Hell yeah, man. Everybody watched it, man. It was must see TV. Shit. It was must see. It was must see. That's why I say I know the younger generation like LeBron. I understand. I understand. But when they try to compare LeBron to Mike, there's no comparison. And I ain't gonna even say in my opinion. That's a true fact to me. Uh, you know what though? I don't be too with you deep. In the beginning, I didn't like Kobe. I didn't like Kobe because see, they talk about Mike was selfish. Mike had to be selfish because he didn't have nobody else on his team, really, when he came to the Bulls. So Mike on offense was all they had. But Kobe, to me, he was more selfish. He was selfish. He was selfish. And plus, I got pissed when he tricked on Shaq after he got busted in Colorado. I ain't think that was cool. But yeah.